Hi everybody, it's Andrea. Excuse me. And today I want to talk about sleep issues. Since I saw Christine's video talking about issues with sleeping and Tommy, and from what I understand, it's a pretty common problem for a majority of us. I myself have had issues getting sleep, and it can be so frustrating. So I want to talk a little bit about what you all do to get a decent night's sleep. Another thing I know is that a lot of people don't seem to dream anymore, or if they do, they don't remember it. Um, I've had periods off and on of that. I found that taking heavy duty drugs to sleep is what just I didn't dream, I didn't remember it. But my problems started some time ago, and it goes off and on. I've had to take sleeping pills in the past, and to be honest, they didn't even really help a whole lot. I do have, I guess it's a form of restless leg. I know a lot of people don't believe in it, but I think for people like us, it's a nerve issue. I find myself in bed, and I don't even realize I'm doing it at first until I really pay attention, and I'm constantly like rubbing my feet together, moving around. Um, I've had issues where I was in bed and it was almost like an anxiety attack because I had to move. I got up and started walking around. It was like a strange compulsion, and I just couldn't stop moving. And it was like 2 in the morning, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm trying to calm down, and I just have to move. And then a weird anxiety came about me that, okay, this is weird and uncontrollable. And so you add that all together, and it made it even worse. And it's the strangest feeling. I just don't know how to explain it. And I'm sure that at least somebody out there has had that happen to them. Um, After the sleeping pills, they weren't really doing anything very well. I always get to sleep. Even when I was working, it seemed that I'd finally fall asleep around 3, 4 in the morning, and then get that good sleep, the rest, and then I would have to get up, and I'd be like groggy from the sleeping pill. And so then when I stopped working, it would be sporadic. I could sleep, I couldn't. If I was having a relapse and feeling really bad, um, I slept, I guess. I don't know how restful it was, but I was so exhausted that I was sleeping. Um, and by the amount of snoring I do, according to my husband, I was in a pretty deep sleep, he thought. I have tried trazodone, which is a very old antidepressant that now they find that it just helps with sleep. And I started that because that was when I had no insurance, and they prescribed it because it was an old generic drug I'd be able to afford, and maybe it would help with my sleep and possibly with any anxiety or anything I had. And it worked to some extent, but it would make me so groggy and nauseated the next day, like a drug hangover. So, oh God, here it is with the so. You know what I'm saying? Um, inside joke, sorry. Now I use it very rarely, and it's only when I just cannot get to sleep. And to be honest, it doesn't really help a whole lot either. I take Tylenol PM at night with my last baclofen of the day, and I usually get to sleep between 1 and 3 in the morning. Depending on how good the sleep was, I'll wake up. I usually wake up like around 7, and then I'm like, oh no, it's too early, and I'll be able to go back to sleep. Then I get up around 10, 11, and if I'm really just wiped out, and it's usually if I took the trazodone, I'll sleep very late. And it's not even really sleep, it's just the energy to get out of bed and just kind of like drifting off and on. I don't know if my picture is, I'm looking at my camera and, okay, never mind. I'll see when I render it. See that flash? I think it's the lighting. But I digress as usual. I think a part of the issue, at least for me, and not sleeping is inactivity, of not doing a lot of physical things, working. You know, when I was working, I would have a hard time sometimes sleeping, but a lot of that was mental stuff going on in my head because I was having issues at work and stuff. But I would have to go out and walk the property and take people around the property, showing the apartments, and so I got a lot of physical as well as mental activity. So now being at home and having limited physical activity, I mean, if you're doing your stretches and your exercises, that's something, but it's not a whole lot of activity. And I just think that that's probably a part of it. And I really don't know what I could do to be more physically active without help, or I don't know. Ideas would be great. And I want to know if other people feel if that's kind of why maybe they're not sleeping as well. I know pain is another thing. And for me, at least, when I'm at rest, is when the numbness and burning get really bad. And it's probably because I'll notice it through the day, but you're talking, you're doing things, you're on the computer, so it's not a main focus. But when you're lying in bed and you're trying to get to sleep, it, at least for me, it becomes very much intensified. And so mostly on my left leg, it feels like a blowtorch is being held against my skin, or a lighter or something. And so that, hurts. And then the numbness in my feet will get really bad and ache and burn. And then it just, your mind starts focusing on that, and it's hard to, not think about it and get to sleep. I have a hard time getting comfortable. And I wake up, I don't know if it's positions I put myself in, and I wake up and my elbows and my biceps and stuff ache. And I was telling my husband about this, and he said, well, you sleep in really weird positions. He said one morning when he was getting up ready for work and I'm asleep, he said I was literally sleeping and I had both arms up like this, and I was like lying there. And he thought about waking me up, but he thought that if I woke up in that position and hadn't moved myself naturally, that it would probably hurt way more than if I in sleep moved and changed. And he's probably right, but these strange positions I get myself into, I think, is another thing. And I think it's all about trying to find a comfortable position. And I know we all have different pain. And when you have the hug and the neck thing, if I move the wrong way, I get dizzy with my neck, and I'll get like a form of motion sickness, and I have to get out of that position. If I turn the wrong way, my muscles hurt, and the hug feels like it's really constricting, and I feel like I can't breathe. So I'm constantly moving around, and I don't know really what to do about that. Drugs don't seem to help a whole lot for me, and I don't like the way I feel when I wake up. I'm concerned about the amount of Tylenol PM I'm taking, but I think, well, it does have something that helps you sleep, and it does help with aches and pains. And so I thought, well, since I wake up so achy, it might help counterbalance that. So I don't know if I would feel even worse if I wasn't taking it. But that's a lot of Tylenol, two caplets every night, and I still have a hard time going to sleep. I know a lot of people have tried marijuana to sleep, and when I was a teenager, it would make me sleepy and hungry and all of that. God, it's probably about 4 years ago, I say. I did try it, was at a party, met some people, and had recently seen that documentary that was really interesting, and I wish I could remember the name of it. But one of the people in it was a woman who had MS, and she had really bad spasticity and pain. And at that time, the doctors had not put me on baclofen. And so that was a huge issue for me. And so I thought, well, I'll give it a try and see if it would help. I wish I could say it did, but in my case, what it did was increase the numbness in my body. I mean, it started like down at my feet, and it moved up, and my whole body pretty much went numb. It was horrific for me, the feeling, and I couldn't feel anything. And then, pot can make you paranoid or anxious or whatever when something goes wrong, and so that probably intensified it, because I was so freaked out, and all I could do was like, I need to go home, I need to go to bed, I need to get away from this. And luckily I was able to go to bed, wake up, and it was all good again. But that was my experience with that. And I don't think I would ever try it again just for that, because the numbness was just so intense, and literally almost my entire body was just numb and tingling and burning and horrible. Now I know for other people it works well, and I don't know why. Different brains and lesions, and everybody reacts differently. I know when I was young, I had no problems with it. So I guess what I'm asking is, do you have issues sleeping? What do you do to help you sleep? And possibly give advice to me and others that have the problems. From what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a pretty common issue with MS. So that's it for now. Leave a message, do a video response. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're able to sleep. So talk to you soon. Signing out for now. Bye-bye.